To welcome to our like a bit of a freedom series episode. There's no one who doesn't know you. You don't need an introduction. You've been so vocal about issues related to everything, especially human rights and you know, and social acceptance of LGBTQ community and lot more other stuff. I'm no one to introduce you. So rather I will like so I just welcome you on behalf of the team and in the Freedom series.
Um, I think it's important to raise these issues and to raise
Yes.
these issues on national days because there
Yeah.
is no freedom for some of us till there's freedom for all of us, and
Absolutely.
that's precisely the reason why whether it's Independence Day, whether it's Republic Day, whether it's any day for that matter, it becomes imperative for us to raise our voices and raise the voice of minorities. Not just I'm not talking about LGBT alone. I'm talking
Correct.
about any minority needs to be raised, voices need to be raised during any national event.
So do you think we have evolved in past a couple of decades,
Of
and
course,
especially with COVID being around, it's been discussed more and more, and has the mindset and attitude changed a bit, even slightest of the bit,
yes, the attitudes have changed.
or it's only the surface?
If your comparison is for the past 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
it has changed drastically. I mean, hardly people used to speak. There are no masks. There are people who speak about sex and sexuality. Um, Rajiv, when we were working, I mean, that
Yep.
time when I was in showbiz is when I started speaking about my sexuality.
Right. I remember.
And around that time, it was not something that was
Yeah.
spoken about. And my boss around that time encouraged me to speak. So one of
Yeah.
the people who made it possible was Pratik Kumar.
Yeah.
Right? So to have allies becomes so important,
Absolutely.
right? So I think it has gotten better.
Yeah.
It has gotten
Great.
better, much
Great.
better. We'll
Great. So.
always find holes and we'll never be satisfied. We should not be satisfied also, but it has gotten better for the past 10
Yeah, whatever we should be keeping, like keep moving on, is what nature. We have to learn from the nature on that terms. So recently, the American Medical Association suggested the removal of gender from their birth certificates. Do you think like these steps should be here in India, and like these are with identities which should be like they're still unheard of, or
I think there should be. You just need to change one thing in the birth certificate. You just have to change gender to sex. That's all
correct?
that needs to be done, right? Gender cannot be determined. So people use sex and gender interchangeably in India.
Hmm.
Just remove gender and call it sex. Okay, so that will solve all the problem. And gender,
Does it sound so simple?
it is actually that simple. Most of the
Yeah.
things are not that difficult.
Yeah.
That simple. Just that sometimes हम लोग ही जाके नो जेंडर ये है वो है हमको खाली बोलना है तुम ना वो जेंडर मत लिखो सेक्स लिखो
Hmm.
तो वो
Hmm.
सेक्स है okay, वो जेंडर नहीं है right so I think things because things sometimes get complicated with us we send them a whole dossier
Right.
of what the sex is what gender is वो तुम बाद में समझाओ पहले बोलो कि बस सेक्स लिखो जेंडर मत लिखो बस इतना बाद में समझाओ नहीं तो हम ही इतना बड़ा पूरा ये लेके जाएंगे they think that they have to change the whole world for
Yeah.
us
Correct.
they don't
Correct.
need to they just have to change one tiny thing.
Yeah. Very nicely said. I guess it's like with queer and everything. If you talk about everything, so nothing will
अरे
change.
किसको मेरे को खुद नहीं पता LGBTIQIA
Exactly.
Z and what Z and like every day I hear a new term. I mean,
New term.
when I was growing up, we just knew man, woman, transgender. Okay,
Correct.
that was all the awareness that we had. Then of course we knew about trans men, trans women, intersex. Right now we know about many other types. Not that
Yeah.
we didn't know, but we didn't hear these in regular parlance. Now we hear of a lot of these terms.
Absolutely.
Case knew about top, bottom, versatile. I mean, she knew sexual
Exactly.
positions, but we didn't
Exactly.
know more than that. you know. So
True.
so I think that don't expect the world to know that it's all right
It's all right. Yeah, it's all right. So
as long as they don't infringe and they don't think it's their
yeah,
birthright to come and tell us how we should be.
absolutely.
They can exist, they can live in their ignorance, and they can choke in their ignorance and die. We are not bothered.
It's as simple as that. Great. So going into lighter note, I guess yeah, it's been an hour of a discussion now already. So a person of your like with so many so you've reached to a level now, so, from where you started to like a good level where uh, Obama follows you, okay, or
I
your
think that's a
name.
Twitter ka kuch galti hai, I think. But yeah, he follows me, and I'm happy to
Exactly,
follow
even if it
like
is yeah or whatever.
I'm going
So
to live in bask in that glory.
so you've reached to a level now, so, from where you started to like a good level where uh, Obama follows you, okay, or
I
your
think that's a
name.
Twitter ka kuch galti hai, I think. But yeah, he follows
Uh,
me,
but,
and
but-
I'm happy to
exactly,
follow
even if it
like
is yeah or whatever.
I'm
So
going to live in bask in that glory.
yeah, so that is one, and I guess your name was taken a few weeks back in the parliament as well, when they were talking about rights and all that stuff. You
Not
know,
few
you,
weeks. It was taken a year back. I posted it few weeks.
okay, so we have connected. So I just read it, so I thought it's been taken right now. So it could have been easily you could have moved in European countries or American nation where there are better opportunities with better life conditions and like better voices to be spoken about. Why India?
I think home is made by people and
Right.
people of our choice. And this is my home.
Hmm.
I'm not going to say ki desh ki dharti and all those things. Uh, but this is my home. This is what I know. This is my geography that I come from. I love going to the US. I love going and staying there for a while. I don't know. I believe in a world without boundaries, but this is the place that I call home. And just because it is a little, it's a little not so perfect today,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that I will run away from here and not make things right here, right? So if I can make things right, I will make things right, and I will progress ahead in life. If I have get an opportunity tomorrow to be abroad and do something right, I believe in a world without boundaries. So I might go abroad and do this. But as of now, all that I've gained, my college, my school, people who made me, like I don't
Yeah.
mean my parents alone, but people who structured my thoughts,
Correct.
everything is Indian. So how could I not give back to the same space, to the same school, to the same college, to the same space that I came up with? Not
True.
the not the not the Desh Bhakti kind of fervor, but a but a but a but a
But
sense
more
of
to do with memories, what
gratitude.
you
Yeah,
attached to you, and
all
you
those
want
things
to
are
relive.
important. Forget India. I can't think beyond Bombay. I mean, Bombay is
Yeah.
my birthland, right? I'm a South Indian by language, maybe by ancestry,
Yeah.
but I'm a Pakka Maharashtrian and a Pakka Bombayite.
Very true. Very true. So well. So since the stage is set, tone is set, we'll start off with the rapid fire round. So over to you, Shwetal.
So I want to ask you that how can we pursue the general public, especially the ignorant public, to understand this logic of construct, to understand that gender and sexual identity is not a predetermined biological phenomena, rather it is a social construct. And that one if goes ahead and breaks the construct, it's not their fault. So how can we pursue the general public?
I think very important question. I think one of the most important points that we need to remember when we are speaking about India in general is that India, uh, like we don't speak about sex in India. We just have a lot of it. Okay, because बच्चे भगवान का देन नहीं होते हैं. Children are not born because of God. Children are born because parents have sex. But we basically don't want to imagine, don't want to acknowledge the fact that our parents had sex, and parents don't want to acknowledge the fact that children are having sex. So that's the sad state of affairs. One of the important things that we need to do regularly is speak about the difference between sex, gender, and sexuality.
Right, right. Well, I had another question, but now to what you said, I want to just follow up with one thing that there is some kind of dialogue when it comes to like post-feminism, etc. That the binary is also important. Like, at what age can a child, understand what he's supposed to? There is an identity crisis if you don't tell them, because the entire world that is around the child is very binary. So how to raise a child that he's aware, but not, we are not stealing their innocence or not making them feel that they're different than the other kids.
I think that's why a mass movement, so that all children are treated that way, right? And that's why mass movement is necessary, but not a mass movement that is required. Yes, they have done. We need to acknowledge that the government. I
Yeah.
know of movements by the government which it has taken, but the mass awareness campaigns and the kind of money that needs to be pumped into something like that
Yeah.
has not happened. They've
Not
done a little
happening.
bit. I
Not
acknowledge
enough.
it, but that's not enough.
Agree with you. I mean, when it comes to any kind of social reformation, I guess the root is education, and we have to start from the root itself. Sometimes when you try to be free and try to accept yourself for who you are, but how do you deal with societal interference, or how do you fight the conventional attitudes of society?
Well, first of all, there is more awareness now. Okay, people are aware. Previously, it was fashionable to be a homophobe. Now it's not fashionable anymore, right? The younger generation is demanding and it's asking questions,
Yeah.
okay, which is a good thing. We all have our friend circle, and it's important that we stand with our peers so that peers stand with us, and that's how the chain reaction is formed. It is important. Allies are the most important aspect right now. I'm not only
Correct.
loving a person from another gotra, I'm loving a person from the same gender. Not the
Correct.
same gotra, but also the same gender. But wherever you can, that's why it's important to become independent. It's important to be financially
Correct.
independent. It's important to know about the law of the nation. It's important to build that cohort of safety net around you, so that you don't face these. Even if you face these challenges, they don't last for long.
How do you think like we can actually you know change the hate that exists without just putting pressure on people to not be homophobic and stuff?
I think I think the biggest shield against hate is self love. You don't need to fight it at all. When people know that whatever they throw into you, it's going to splash back at them, and it's not going to stick to your body, they will stop doing it.
My next question is, so the queer struggle in India started around 30 years back. So since then we have come a long way, but when do you think we'll reach a point of equality, and not just for the queer community?
I wish that the day never comes. We will never rest,
Yeah.
because the fight for minorities is going to be a lifelong one. The day we rest is when the others will overpower. That's what happened in 2013. 2009, we had a positive verdict. 2013, we had a negative verdict.
So, sir, do you think there's a systematic bias in the judiciary and the government, like that prevents people of alternate sexualities and other minorities from reaching the top-notch offices?
Um, Judiciary, all that we have got is because of the judiciary, and we have got it not because of the government, but we have got it despite the government.
How do you think, like, okay, we say like we need more voices from trans people and everything, but like, how do you think we can actually work that out? How we can actually give them the voice?
First of all, we are no one to give anyone the voice. The voice exists. Okay. What has happened is with the advent of social media, Everyone has the voice and everyone has the choice. Okay. Um, I believe in uh, so so. I mean, I for the longest period of time, I was the man that you're referring to. The cis gay man.
So what do you think? Representation is that important?
I think representation is the most important, not that important. I require we need representation not of queer, but different kinds of queer. A
Hmm.
Muslim queer person, a
Yep.
Dalit queer person, a person with disability who is queer. You require representation. You require bucks who are queer, who are out and queer.
Yeah.
You require leftists who are out and queer. You require centrists who are out and queer. We exist everywhere. Let
Everywhere.
everyone
True.
come out. Let
True.
there be representation everywhere.
Right. Right. True. So what is societal freedom according to you?
Societal, I personally believe to live your life truly and unabashedly is the truest form of activism. And that also is the truest form of freedom. Societal freedom is the freedom that you derive not from the society, you derive
Within.
despite the society.
Yep.
Despite the society. Society is who? Society is you and I.
So what do you think? How can we improve the dialogue surrounding freedom and mental health in India?
Only way that we can improve the dialogue is by narratives, by more and more narratives that come up. India
Hmm.
may people learn only by example. Right from
True.
childhood we are told कि पड़ोस का पिंटू को देखो कितने मार्क्स लेके आया
कितने
तुम भी
मार्क्स है?
तुम्हें भी पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए. We
Correct.
learn only by पड़ोस का पिंटू. So the more narratives that are there of people and more people coming out and saying I have dysthymia. I mean I'm speaking right now. I have a mental health disorder called dysthymia, which is low grade depression which prolongs for a long period of time.
Okay.
My psychologist's name is Arti. My psychiatrist's name is Yashashri. To just as you take your family doctor's name, take the names of your psychologists and psychiatrists.
One last question to Harish is, what is your idea of freedom and the contrasting realities of freedom in context to equality? Is this really the freedom we want it to be, or which has been shaped like after? So we are supposed to be, enjoying a 75th year of freedom, of independence of India, but are we really independent? You think, or
I
freedom has just sorry, like attaching to the question is, or freedom has just become a day of chutti where one can, sleep over and
and
watch
listen
some
to these bhakti
Deshbhakti,
songs.
listen to Deshbhakti songs, some movies, and eat good food, and then from tomorrow, then again a different world altogether.
I I think we need to understand there is no Independence Day until we realize that we are in dependence of other people. And that's important. We all need people around us. We are all dependents. We are all in that, all dependent on other people. We are independence of other people. Unless we understand that, there is no Independence Day. Also, the onus of inclusion lies on those who are included, not on those who are excluded. Until we realize that, there is no independence. Until we realize that there is no true equality before there is equity, there is no independence. So, are we truly independent today? Probably in paper.